What's up, everybody? I know everybody's getting logged in right now, so I'll give you just a second. Welcome to Thursday Night Live. Glad to be with you all. Just checking everything out, making sure we've got the tech working. So as you guys are getting logged in the chat, somebody give me a thumbs up to tell me that I am live and that you're hearing me. Give me a thumbs up. Can somebody do that? All right. Just want to make sure all my levels are right. There we go. Thanks, Emily. All right. Another Thursday Night Live. Glad to be doing this. I really hope you guys came with some. Gilbert, I keep forgetting. You always got to type it. I hope you guys came with some questions. I've got some things to talk about, but I always want to know how I can be an encouragement to you, whether it's answering your fun questions or answering goofy questions or even just serious questions. I love just engaging with you guys in this way. So hope you all are doing well. We'll give it a couple more minutes, but hey, if you got questions for me today, whether it's about faith, family, friends, fun, anything you want to talk about today, feel free to start popping them in the chat and I'll start walking through them here in just a moment, but just want to give everybody a chance to get logged in as we get everything figured out. So, sweet. Just giving it a second here. Make sure I've got everything. All right. Well, it's another week, guys. It's been crazy as we're working through everything and just been crazy trying to make sure that we love you guys well and care for you guys well, even though we're in the midst of this weird time where we can't be together, we can't hang out together, but we're trying to connect digitally. So this is one of those ways that we're trying to connect digitally. I want to be an encouragement to you guys. So I hope this is an evening of just some fun and encouraging time. So you can drop your questions in the you're getting an EKG ultrasound thing soon. Interesting, Noel. Sorry, I'm getting your messages probably a little behind. So yeah, talk to us more about that. I'd love to know how I can pray for you about that, Noel. I'm assuming they're trying to figure some things out for you. You can either pop it in the chat or if you'd rather message me and let me know, that's totally fine. That's crazy. All right, so here's what I'm going to do real quick. I've got a couple of dates coming up for some CrossWay Youth stuff that I want to make sure you guys have on your calendar, really just through the month of May. So I want to make sure you've got these things on your calendar so that we can take a look at them. We've got 2 more weeks of CrossWay Youth Online. So we've got it on 5/3 and on 5/17 we'll be taking Mother's Day off. So that's the 10th. So just make sure you've got that kind of update on your calendar. Only a couple more weeks of doing it that way. We've got our senior night on May 8th. So if you didn't get that email, I sent the email to all students and all parents as well. And we are doing a senior night on May 8th for our graduating seniors, just a night to celebrate them. That will be a Zoom call. There'll be some fun things that we're going to be doing together, but get that on your calendar. We would love to have you hop on that call and just enjoy the time with the seniors, the senior video, and some time to just encourage them. If you don't have a calendar, that's funny. Get it on somebody's calendar or make sure you just don't forget. That's all I'm saying. Then we've got a game night on May 14th. So I'm working on putting together a game night. I think it'll most likely be a Zoom call for students, but I'm working on putting together just a fun night. I know, our Sunday nights have kind of been a lot of just going after God's word and engaging in teaching and discussion together, but I want to make sure we get some time to have some fun. So I'm working on that night. So that's May 14th. And then we are doing a worship night on May the 22nd. It'll be through Zoom. I'm just looking forward to hanging out and worshiping together however we can. It's going to be led by students. In fact, Mariana and Nathan are already putting it all together themselves. I've been helping them, but they're running with it. So look forward to spending that time together, worshiping and praying together. So make sure those things are on there for you. Just make sure you don't miss those. They're going to be great. All right, Noel, thanks for the update. Okay, sweet. If there are other ways that we can be praying for you, let us know about that. But it sounds like it's just something they're checking into, which is, it's always good to make sure, So yeah, that's what's going on in our calendar. And just want to make sure we enjoy this May as best as we can. And kind of have some fun together and engage in communication and like just loving one another better. So just looking forward to some of that time with you guys. So, got any questions for me? I'll just keep talking. If not, I'll talk about what I've been reading and some of the things that I've been learning. But now's your chance to start asking questions. If you have some questions you'd like to ask me, once again, it could be anything. It could be about faith, family, fun, friends, anything, just anything you want to talk about. I'd love to maybe answer your questions. If not, I'm going to start talking about what I've been reading and what the Lord's been encouraging me in. Good question. How do I keep motivated in quarantine? Okay. How do I keep motivated in quarantine? Sometimes I do well at it and sometimes I don't. Part of me is remembering just what's most important. So it's just kind of refocusing my perspective, particularly on God's word and and knowing what I'm doing is valuable. And what I'm doing is, God's calling me to faithfulness. He's not calling me to get everything perfect and right. I think when I get kind of discouraged and maybe unmotivated, I have this kind of self-doubt of whatever I'm doing doesn't matter. It's not really helping anybody. It's just a lesser version of what we'd like to be doing. And it just helps me to remember that God's called me to be faithful with the time that we have. And so kind of that measuring stick is not on killing everything, making sure everything's done just awesome. It's on doing a great job of being faithful, loving students and families well, being engaged with my family well. Just perspective. I think that's the best way I can keep motivated. And Marian, I'll be honest with you. There are days where I'm just not motivated and I don't do a great job of that. But as I fight to be motivated, that's one of the ways that I try. All right. How many screen displays do I have? 2 technically, but there's also a third on the camera. So I've got the live chat going on one. I've got kind of my computer running everything and then the camera screen. I try not to look at all 3. I try to use the camera screen to kind of keep me focused on looking at the camera, but yeah, got a lot of things going on just to try to make sure we do this well. My favorite Bible passage, man, it's always a hard one for me. There's so many passages that I really, really love. And they're really just for different moments of life. Like I need them at different times. And so, some of the things that I really love would be, let me think here. So I love the whole book of Philippians. It's one of the reasons I chose to do that for this student Bible study that we walked through. Colossians, particularly 3. I really love the nuts and bolts of the put off, put on stuff in Colossians 3. It's just really practical, really faithful, really helpful. I love the Gospels. I love getting a kind of a first-hand account of Jesus' life and paying attention and how he told parables. And so I really enjoy that. I'm growing in my love for the Psalms right now. I'm trying to pray a psalm a day based on whatever day it is. And so I'm trying to pray through a psalm every day and just enjoying how that's been ministering to my soul and encouraging my heart. So those are some of my favorite places right now. That's been fun. How have the kids handled the stay-at-home thing, Noel? Yeah, great question. Like some of you have said, if you're a little home, if you're homeschooled, my kids have been home about as much as normal. Maybe just they've missed out on some of the social aspects. So I think on one hand, it's been a sweet moment of me to engage with them a little more often, but on another hand, they're missing some of the newer friendships they were building. So I think we still feel a little disconnected from CrossWay in some ways because we just don't have those deep relationships, and I can see that in my kids. But it's been really cool. They've been trying to connect with people. They've been trying to write cards to people. They've done even a few video calls with people at CrossWay to just try to connect in that way. And so I think it's been okay. I think they're looking forward to getting back to church. They're looking forward to being able to go on adventures. Tabitha's great about taking the kids out and going on adventures. So there's been some challenges to being able to do that. Even going to the store. One of the big ways I love spending time with my kids is we've got to go shopping. I do a lot of the shopping. And so it's just kind of a running rotation of which kid is going with me. And we might stop at Chick-fil-A or we might not stop anywhere special, but just getting to spend that time. I kind of took up this mantra a few years back, never waste a drive or an errand. So I try to take my kids with me as much as I can. So they miss not being able to do some of that. Where did I get the lamp in the background? I think it was a Target lamp, I think. Do I have any Dumbledore quotes in my house? Nope, they're all in my office. So, yeah, none here. Sorry. Can I talk about God's sovereignty over this virus? Did he cause it? Is it loving of him? How can his sovereignty be comforting? I can talk about that. That's a long question a a deep and a great question. So the way I understand God's sovereignty, I think clearly in Scripture, He is not the author of evil, but He is sovereign over all things. That's when we go back to that kind of acronym. He limits, orders, controls, and knows all things. So that's why I just take refuge in even that account of Joseph that we walked through a few weeks ago. Think about a man named Joseph who, this young boy who was sold into slavery. He was falsely accused of sexual sin, thrown in jail, forgotten in jail, finally raised to kind of a great spot in Pharaoh's kingdom. And then he can even say, kind of near the end of all this account, that you meant this for evil and God meant this for good. He had a perspective that God was working in the middle of all those hard things to work about His perfect plan. So I do think God is sovereign. I do think He rules and reigns over all these things. Did He cause the virus? I think that's an interesting question. I hesitate to say yes or no to that because I'm just not God and I don't know all His ways. I don't know exactly what He's done or not done, what He's just allowed or what He's bringing about. But at the end of the day, I can't take God off the hook as far as being over all things. And so, is it loving of Him? Once again, I think the true test of God's love is the fact that He sacrificed Himself through His Son Jesus dying on the cross for our sins. So the ultimate, most loving thing somebody could do is He's already done it for us. I think we have this desire and actually idolatry of comfort. We want to be as comfortable as possible. And then we want to shake our fists at God when something happens that doesn't let us be comfortable or causes harm or hurt. And I just think God's a little bit bigger than that. And it's a little bit like the clay saying to the potter, why did you make me this way? Or why did you do this thing? I trust that God is doing what He thinks is best. One of those verses that really gives me hope is just, I think it's in the Psalms, is won't the God of the heavens do right? It's this idea that God is going to do what He needs to do to accomplish His purposes. Nobody can thwart His purposes. So I don't know how you want to, say specifically whether He caused it or allowed it, but I promise you God is going to do something good in this. I know that there are going to be people who come to faith in Jesus through some of the hardship that's experienced in this. I know there's going to be good. I know for me, there's already been good in my life from having to walk through this hardship, being humbled in different ways, having to face my kind of frailty and my humanity and my fears. So I just trust that God's going to do a lot of great things, and I'm not going to see most of them. But this is not the first time the world has gone through something hard, and generations of Christians have followed Jesus and walked through hard times. Ask the question, God, what are you doing? But not lost faith. Throughout the history of Christianity, God's people have faced things like this. This is actually not the worst thing that the world has ever faced. So that's one of the reasons I love reading biographies. I love reading history because I think it brings us some perspective on what we're actually walking through. This is Elizabeth, have you found yourself doing something more during quarantine that you weren't doing before? Absolutely. I've been playing more video games now that I'm in quarantine. Now, I'm not usually playing them by myself. I'm connecting with other students or people in other places, but I'm playing more video games than I have in a long time. But it's been a fun way to connect with some of the guys in our youth group. My brother who lives somewhere else. There's been some fun ways to connect that way. So that's one thing I've done more. Second thing is I drink more coffee now that I'm at home. I've enjoyed making more coffee than I normally have during a day. So yeah, some things that I do a little bit more. All right, let's see here. Maddie, good question. If the quarantine lasts through the summer, are you still going to do these online meetings with Zoom and YouTube? If the quarantine were to last through the summer, we would figure something out. So the plans, we kind of planned through May because it looks like things are going to loosen, but we're waiting to see exactly what happens. If for some reason we're not able to gather through the end of Zoom or through the end of the summer, not through the end of Zoom, through the end of the summer, we'll figure out something. I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. I want to continue to engage with you. It might have to look different. We might have to think about it differently. But we'll do something. We're not going to leave you hanging, guys. All right. Let's see here. I do stop at a Chick-fil-A a lot, Faith. God's chicken is just so good. What do you do? Okay, I'm trying to get caught up. There's a lot of banter going on, which is fine. I'm just trying to get caught up with what questions. Can't believe we reached peak sovereignty long ago. No, I'm not sure I understand that comment. If that's a question or let's see here. Yeah, I mean the flood was pretty drastic. That's true. I don't know that I'm looking to say peak or non-peak, but if if you're gonna pick one, uh, that had some pretty severe consequences, and we know that God was a part of that because He was punishing sin, people who had rebelled against Him, and had said, "We don't want you to be our king. We don't care." So, yeah. Let's see here. Whoop, running out. Do you think you eat more sugar or play more video games during this quarantine? I don't eat too much sugar. I don't think I have some, a few sweet things around the house, but I'm not chowing down on sugar or candy or. We did make some brownies that were really really good recently, but I don't know that that's my biggest problem. So my favorite flavor of tea. That's a great question. I really like just plain black tea with a little bit of milk and sugar, or milk and honey. I really like. Oh, what's the name of it? It's called Rooibos. I really like Rooibos tea. Uh, that's really really good as well. But I like a lot of different kinds of tea. I grew up when I lived in Czech Republic. We drank a lot of like fruit teas, peach, strawberry, different kinds of tea. So, I like a lot of different kinds of drinks like that. So. Yeah, Asher, I get you. I feel like all my routines are crumbling. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I've tried to really build some discipline into my life, particularly around the exercise and making sure I get time in God's Word, which can be challenging. Because if I don't keep some routines and some disciplines, man, my whole life goes to whack. I feel you, Asher. Favorite quarantine snack? Okay, so it's a good question. Um, oh, this is gonna weird you guys so out. So here's what it is. I like cottage cheese and applesauce side by side, and then I dip potato chips in it. You can call me gross. I'll fight you. No, I won't fight you. But I've been eating a lot of that. So there you go. There you go. Let's see here. Favorite athlete and why? Lily, that's a great question. Um, Favorite athlete and why? Man, I mean, I have favorite teams and I have favorite athletes on those teams. Um, Man, that's a great question. I mean, some of my favorite athletes are guys that are really just not they're outspoken in their faith, not like obnoxious, but just honest. Guys like Carson Wentz or I really appreciated Tim Tebow when he was competing. Um, some of my favorite teams don't have really any strong Christians that I know of right now. So there's something about just watching somebody in that kind of limelight, living out their faith and competing at kind of the top end of that sport. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite athlete right now. Maybe it's just because I don't get to watch any sports right now, so I can't think of anybody. Maybe that's it. I'm going through sports withdrawal. That's probably it. Favorite actor and why? Favorite actor and why? I really like some of the more classic guys like a Tom Hanks. Russell Crowe is one of my favorite just because Gladiator is one of my all-time favorite movies. Um, but I love Tom Hanks because of the variable characters he's played throughout the year. I just think he's really talented. I mean, he can play like, just so many different kinds of characters. So I just think he's excellent. I told you guys you're gonna not like that. Sorry, I'm a little late to these comments. Oh man, straight Jiffy peanut butter Asher. There you go. There you go. Apples, good stuff. Good stuff. Did I ever dream of a sports team I wanted to play? Absolutely. So probably growing up as a kid, my dream was to play soccer for the U.S. men's national team. That would probably been my dream. It was never going to happen, but in my head for a while, it was going to happen. But then, yeah, if I was going to play for a professional team, which would have been in soccer, it would have been Liverpool. But I remember my youngest like kind of dreams would be like the national team, representing your country, at the Olympics, the World Cup. Like that was one of my dreams. So yeah, Maddie, good question. So growing up, I used to have like cottage cheese with a lot of different kinds of things. So my mom would do like tomatoes and cottage cheese, but she would also do peaches and cottage cheese. So then I liked the peaches and cottage cheese because it was kind of the sweet kind of mixture. And then I just tried applesauce one day, and I've always liked dipping chips in applesauce. It's the sweet salty thing. I love sweet and salty together. And so then I got those put together one day, and I was like, let's try some chips in it. And so that's what I do. Yeah, kind of funny. Hey, Hannah. Yeah, Kirk Cousins, cool. I would have liked him a lot more if he wasn't a Viking. So, yeah, Foles is pretty cool too. I like that. I'm not going to be a Bears fan, Lily. Sorry. Harrison Ford, good. Yes, yeah, he's great. Solid. Man, I feel like I'm getting caught up here. Seth, you're a Steelers fan? Oh, that's all right. I guess that'll be okay. Michael Phelps, that's fun. Yeah, sorry, Eden. I don't know what to do with that. My wife doesn't like cottage cheese either. Getting caught up here. Okay. Yeah, Asher. I don't want to become a Vikings fan. So I'm a Packers fan, and an Ohio State Buckeyes fan. So those are my two football teams. Aaron, good question. That's a good question. All right, I'm gonna try to get a little caught up here. Try goldfish and grapes together. That's really good. Well, here's the deal. I told somebody else this the other day. One of my favorite snacks, I haven't had it in quarantine. This is another weird one, is I make my own favorite trail mix. So in my trail mix, here's the 4 ingredients. You ready? Snyder's buffalo pretzels, Snyder's honey mustard pretzels, cashews, and M&Ms. It's my sweet, salty, spicy, weird favorite trail mix in the world. Those 4 things, put them together, and I'm like in heaven. Another weird thing. Just being honest, being vulnerable here. What's the weirdest thing I've ever eaten? Okay, Sadie, great question. So when I was in the Czech Republic, there's a lot of interesting things that I got to eat. But one of my favorite memories was actually when I went on a missions trip to the Philippines. And well, there's 2 memories. I got to tell you this one, and I'll tell you another one. And we ordered half a chicken. And so you kind of expect it to arrive like you would get like half a rotisserie chicken or something. Well, they come out and they pull the plate off the top, and it's literally half of a chicken sawed straight down. It's cooked, but it's half a beak, half a brain, 1 eyeball staring at us. It was the weirdest thing to ever show up on a plate I've ever seen. Second, when I was in Guatemala with some students a number of years later, we found cooked iguana in the marketplace. I'm going to be honest, I was too chicken to eat it. But we had a couple of guys who ate it, and I'll never forget the pictures of them doing that. And but we found out later, some of them got a little sick to their stomach. And we found out later that you're supposed to take those iguanas home and cook them a second time, but we didn't know that. So our guys were just chowing down on a once cooked iguana when it should have been cooked twice. So there you go. All right, let's keep going here. Come on, Gilbert, don't roast my trail mix. That's not kind. All right, let's see here. Do I like fish? Like cooked fish? I do. I love sushi. And that's actually one of my goals in the next week is I want to get some sushi from a local place, support a local place and get some sushi. I want sushi so bad. I used to have students over, even some of my leaders over to make homemade sushi. It's just so much fun. I love sushi, but I also love, cod, salmon. I haven't tried a lot of exotic things. I love tuna steak. So usually when I'm like at the ocean, I'm going to get a tuna steak somewhere at a restaurant. I love it. Eden, do I like to try new things? I do. I think I do. I especially like to try new foods. I'll try just about anything once. What's the best experience you've had because you tried doing something you wouldn't normally have tried? That's a hard question. Man, I don't even know. Yeah, you don't have to think about that. It's a good question. I'm stumped by it. I don't have a good answer for that. Doing anything? Have I ever done anything dangerous? I've never gone skydiving. That scares the junk out of me. It's not something that I'm really looking to try. This whole idea of that one time your parachute doesn't open up. Yeah, that's just not a fan. Not a fan. Ugh, not a fan. Yep, that's right. Raw fish is in sushi. So yes, I eat that. Would I ever go bungee jumping? Maybe you can maybe convince me to do bungee jumping. Those are just not. I'm not daring. I'm not very daring. I'm a pretty comfortable, safe kind of person. So yeah, I like Fig Newtons. That's good. That's good. Worst irrational fears? No, that's a great question. So I can sometimes just be really fearful of things happening to my kids or my family. And I know there's genuine reasons you should be wise and be careful, but I can sometimes run down kind of some pretty irrational thought patterns about worrying about my kids, worrying about my wife. She could be late from coming home from something, and I could be worried that something really happened to her. I can sometimes run down those paths with my brain, and yeah, and it's often irrational. It's not that it couldn't happen, but it's just my mind is just I'm just worried and not trusting God usually. So I think that's one of them. Let's see here. Let's see here. Here's the dark. Thanks, Noel. Yeah, I mean, and this might sound spiritual, but one of my biggest fears is some of my kids not coming to know Jesus. Something I think about a lot and pray about a lot, and want to continue to pray about more. But that's honestly one of my biggest fears is that my kids might not love Jesus deeply and spend eternity with Him. So, yeah, yep. Okay, I think I'm at the bottom of the chat here. What's one of the biggest things you regret? Yeah, Lily, that's a good question. Honestly, one of the biggest things I regret is spending most of high school not paying attention to what my dad and my mom called wisdom. And so I spent a lot of my high school years pretending and thinking I knew better than my parents for just about everything. I didn't listen to their counsel. I didn't really care to involve them in my life much. Now, remember, I was away at a boarding school, but I had plenty of chances to call and talk with them. And I spent a lot of time just not caring what they thought, not keeping them involved in my life, and I regret that. I went back to my parents and asked for forgiveness when I was in college because I just really felt like it was my fault. I did some real things to do that. We have a great relationship now. It's not like we don't have a good relationship, but I think I wasted some real time when I could have grown in maturity and really loved my parents well in high school. So, yeah. Do you ever have doubts about your Christianity? If so, what caused it the most? Yeah, I mean, I've actually absolutely had doubts about Christianity. I don't know that it's a regular thing for me anymore. I've just seen a lot of life and pretty confident in who God is and what He's done. But I think there's been some doubts. I think one of the times that just been clear doubt in my life is when there was a pattern of sin that I just couldn't seem to break or stop. And so it made me wonder, is God really out there? Does He really care? Does He want to help me? And it took just a number of years to keep working and plodding along. God slowly growing me. God's process for growing us in holiness is way slower than we would prefer it. So, but that's one of the clear times I've thought about that, wrestled with that, struggled with that, because I really felt like, God, if you really care, you would help me change. And He did, just really slowly, much slower than I wished. So, yeah, great question. What's the best decision I ever made? Man, that's like a big question. There's a lot of good decisions I think I've made. I think with Tabitha and I getting married young was just a great decision for us. It's not something everybody should do, but we're really grateful that the Lord has grown us. So we're getting to do life and marriage together. We're coming up on 13 years of marriage. We got married when we were 19, and yeah, just grateful that we get to do it together. I can't imagine doing life any different than that. So, favorite ice cream flavor: Edie's Double Fudge Brownie Ice Cream. I like vanilla as long as it's covered in chocolate sauce and other things. So, Do I regularly think about things that I've done in the past? Absolutely. One of the things I have, it's a weakness of mine, is I have just a definite fear of man. I care what people think way more than I should. And I will often come home from a day at work, even a day at church, and be running conversations through my head and often thinking I shouldn't have said it that way, or there was a better way to say that, or man, that probably came across as unkind, or maybe I should have used different words. Worrying about how I handled things, wondering what they're thinking of me. I often will rehearse those kinds of things. And absolutely do think about those kinds of things. Let's see here. Ice cream, definitely not froyo. Sorry, Noel, not the right answer. Okay, Eden, great question. What would you suggest us to do to pay attention to your parents and love them even when it's hard? It's easy for me to disagree or have a different opinion, but since I'm a kid and they're the adult, well, here's the first thing I would say. God calls us to be listening to our parents. When you read the book of Proverbs, how many times does it talk about heeding the wisdom of your parents, or even honoring your parents? I think a way to honor your parents is to listen to what they have to say. So I think it's seeking their counsel. I think it's recognizing that when you disagree, you might actually still be wrong. Just because you disagree with them doesn't make you right and them wrong. You have to remember they've lived a lot more life than you have, and that's not necessarily a right to wisdom, but that means they've seen a lot more of life. They've seen the ups and downs of life. They know how some things work that you may not know how they work yet. And I'm not saying parents are always right. I'm not. But I think God has called us to heed the wisdom of our parents. It shouldn't surprise us that God calls us to honor our parents, and that it's the first command that comes with the promise. It says, honor your father and your mother, that things may go well with you. God actually says, in honoring and obeying your parents, things will go better for you in general. That's a good promise to hold on to. And I think we just toss that off because we think, no, it's better if I get what I want or I do what I want. And I think we just missed the boat. I missed this. I wish I had spent more time seeking my parents' counsel, trying to understand why they thought certain ways about things, and doing what they told me, even when I felt it wasn't what I wanted or whatever. I don't know that my parents would ever have counseled me to do something sinful. It was usually what's wise or what's best, and I should have just preferred them much more. I don't know. Let's see here. Catch up. What's one of the first things I'm going to do after quarantine ends? Well, it depends on what quarantine ends look like. If it means we can gather in groups of more than 50, I want to go to church and I want to have some sort of youth event. I want to go to a restaurant. I want to go sit in Starbucks and read a book. There's a lot of different things I want to do. I want to hang out with people. I want to have people in our home. Tabitha and I love doing hospitality, and we just hate that we've lost that ability in building relationships through having people over for a meal. So any of those things and all of those things I want to do right away. Let's see here. What's your biggest challenge in life, and how did you overcome it? Lily, that's a great question. Biggest challenge in life. I mean, there's been some significantly challenging seasons. And so I think about back when I was in college. Tabitha and I got married between our sophomore and junior year of college. And to kind of pay the bills and still get through college, I had to work 45 to 50 hours a week and was going to college full time. So I didn't sleep much, and trying to stay faithful in our church and trying to get my homework done was just a real challenge. And so I got through it by just pressing in, by not giving up, by trying to stay in community so I could be encouraged, trusting Jesus, just working hard. It was a challenging season. I don't ever want to go back and do that again. But I'm grateful that we pushed through and got it done, so that we were able to still graduate from college, having been married early. And it was really important for us and for our families for us to do that. So yeah, that's good. Yeah, I was 19 when we got married. We were both 19, Elizabeth. I turned 20 actually on our honeymoon. Tabitha turned 20 a few months later. How can we overcome fear of man when it comes to evangelism? Great question, Gilbert. Part of it's just getting more repetition and doing it. And I know that sounds like, well, how do I get repetitions if I'm too afraid to do it? It's just part of life, just trying it. I think there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can try to work with friends of yours that know and love Jesus, and even just practice what it looks like to explain the gospel and to do those kinds of things. But at the end of the day, it's about building relationships and looking for opportunities to put Jesus on display. Evangelism is not just looking for an opportunity to talk about how Jesus died and rose again. Evangelism is building relationships, making sure your life looks looks like Jesus and is begging some questions, and then looking for opportunities to talk about your faith, to talk about your church, to talk about Jesus and what he's done for you, to talk about your perspective on life. Sometimes the best ways I lead into evangelism is like asking questions of them. What do you believe? So what do you think is going to happen then? How do you reconcile these things? And then often questions come back my direction. So it's getting reps and getting more comfortable. At the end of the day, like I still get nervous when I have those moments of like, all right, it's clear opportunity, and I don't know what they're going to think or like this. But man, like God is planning on using people like you to change lives for eternity. Let's get in on the work he wants us to do. So yeah, it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but love it. Favorite kind of music? Yeah, it's Christian hip hop, rap. So once again, Aaron, Tripoli, Lecrae, KB, some of my favorites. I also really love King's Kaleidoscope and Citizens. So those are kind of a different style of music, but just some artists that I listen to a lot. Really, really love them. Let's see here. Least favorite food that I eat regularly? Oh, what's something we eat regularly that I don't really love? I don't know. I'm not really a picky eater. Least favorite food that I eat regularly. I really don't know how to answer that. Probably my wife can sometimes get creative with things at the end of the month as far as like putting this in the pot and making it. And so we eat those kinds of things regularly. And I'm not a crazy fan about some of those things, but she feeds me so well. I don't complain. So she's pretty awesome. My wife will sometimes try to get meatless meals past me. That's like a no-go for me. Like you put out some beans and rice, I'm grabbing the lunch meat. I got to have some meat with my meal. So, yes, coffee house. I get you eating. Sleepovers. Yep. Favorite Starbucks drink. Usually, it depends on what. Like if money's not an option, it's an iced caramel macchiato, half sweet. But those are a little more expensive, so I got in the habit of doing like a vanilla iced coffee, half sweet. I love iced drinks, even in the winter. I just love iced coffee and iced espresso drinks. So let's see here. What else? My oldest kid is 10. Daniel's 10. So there are 10 all the way down to about 18 months, not quite 18 months. So favorite summer activity? I love getting in the water. So pools, lakes. I love boating. I don't get to do that very much, but man, those are some of my favorite things to do in the world. No, Eden, this is just a shirt from Old Navy. It was $3 and I really liked it. So, yep. I like Andy, but he is often a little more kind of funny, and I really appreciate some of the pastoral heart that KB and Tripoli particularly bring to the table. But I like Andy. Yeah, he's on my playlist. I don't really listen to NF much. Sorry. I love asparagus. I don't love mushrooms, but we don't eat it regularly, so not one of my issues. That's right, Faith. You can tell I'm picky because I eat those things. Eden, if you're being serious about bacon, I don't know what to do with you. Like, we might not even be able to be friends anymore. I don't know what to do. Let's see here. Are any of my kids picky eaters? Yes, unfortunately. My youngest 3 right now are struggling to eat in general. So, and it's not even like this is what they're picky. It seems like they're picky about everything. So it's a bummer because some of them were some of our best eaters for a while, and they just decided, nah. Yeah, miss swimming. Yep. Yeah, I love kayaking, canoeing. I used to do a summer kayaking trip with students every year down a river near us. It was so much fun. Do you ever have breakfast for lunch? I would eat breakfast like every meal of the day. I love eggs. I love sausage and bacon, pancakes, French toast. Like I would eat breakfast 3 meals a day if it was like physically healthy and able to do that. But my wife doesn't like them near as much as I do. Have I ever seen the Andy Griffith Show? Yep, I've watched some Andy Griffith. I haven't watched a lot. I didn't grow up watching Andy Griffith, so not one of my favorites. My favorite band, so if we're not talking like like artists, so like Triply, KB, those guys are individual artists. If you're looking for band, probably somebody like Citizens and Saints or King's Kaleidoscope. They're some of my favorites. I don't know that I've had Spam in a long time. I probably wouldn't like it, but maybe I'm wrong and it would be awesome. I don't know. Let's see here. Noel, sorry, your brothers are so picky. Spaghetti, cereal, and sandwiches, that's crazy. Oh no, bacon and ranch is good. What are you talking about? Bacon like ranch sandwich or bacon ranch wrap? That stuff's great. Let's go. I would totally be heartbroken if bacon disappeared. Yes, Laurel, appreciate you. I just bought a 4-pound thing of bacon at Costco the other day. I'm so excited to make that and put that in stuffs. All kinds of stuffs. Let's see here. I think I'm all caught up. Pizza and ranch, very good, Aaron. I also do pizza and ranch and hot sauce mixed together. So you get this spicy ranch. Love dipping my pizza in like ranch and Cholula, ranch and Basco. So good. So good. Man, you guys are so opinionated. Goodness gracious. I bet you a pig would eat a bacon. He just would. He would eat some bacon. He'd throw it in his slop. It wouldn't even matter. That's funny. That's funny. All right. Any more questions? I feel like I got caught up. I don't think I missed anybody. Favorite pizza company? Asher, that's great. If I'm going like affordable pizza, it's usually Papa John's. But I love a good deep dish pizza. I'm looking forward to trying some local pizza places here. Yeah, really enjoy pizza. Favorite restaurant in general? I'm still looking to try a lot of places in the area that I haven't tried. I think I talked about this one point in time. I used to do Chipotle all the time. I was disappointed with Chipotle in this area, so I'm moving on to a different favorite. I eat a lot of Chick-fil-A. Those are just kind of budget options. I love all different kinds of food. I love ethnic foods like Thai and other Asian cuisine, or I love a good burger. I'm not picky, and I love to eat. So, man, there's so many good restaurants. Asher, if there's a restaurant I need to try before, I'm not leaving Kenosha, but if there's a restaurant I need to try, what's the restaurant I need to try, Asher? Pop it in the chat for me. Let's see here. What is the number one food that you can't live without during this virus? I don't know, Hannah. That's a great question. I feel like there's plenty of foods I could live without. I mean, there's a number of things that we're keeping stocked because we really like to eat them. But I don't have like if we ran out of this and couldn't get it anymore, I'm going to die. I don't have one of those really. I've been eating a lot of eggs when we can get them. I just love eggs. I've been eating a lot of turkey. I love turkey lunch meat. I love it on my breakfast stuff. I love it on my sandwiches. I love it with cheese. Cheese is one that would be tough. I love cheese. If I couldn't get cheese for 3 months in a row, man, that would be tough for me. But yeah. Okay. Oh man, you guys are popping a lot of things in the chat here. Let's see here. Okay, got some good suggestions. Okay. Sal's. Yeah, Sal's. I've heard about Sal's. I need to try them. I've done Papa Murphy's. We like that, especially because you can make it. Yep, we had Marco's in Kentucky. I've done that before. Texas Roadhouse is good. Let's see here. Jack's Pizza is mediocre. Javier's in Racine is good. Have I ever gone on any interesting diets? No, I don't think so. I've done counting calories and trying to reduce certain things, but I've never done any of those kind of fad diets or different kinds of diets. I don't think. No, I don't think so. Good question. Okay. Some good suggestions on restaurants. That's good. Captain Mike's for burgers. That sounds really good. That sounds really yummy. What if I couldn't have coffee? I'd get over it. I enjoy coffee, but it's not like I'm just dying for caffeine all the time. At least I don't think so. I just love the taste of coffee. I'd probably drink tea, or I just drink a lot of water other than that. So yeah. If I could only stay in one place for the rest of my life, where would that be? Man, that's a great question. At the end of the day, I think there's a lot of different places in the world that I could live. It's just really dependent on being a part of a good church family for me. So when I moved back for college, like I moved to Northern Kentucky to go to Grace Fellowship Church because I needed to be in community. I mean, I moved here, obviously it was for a job, but to be a part of CrossWay Community Church. So I could, if I could have a good church that I would love and be a part of anywhere, it'd probably be somewhere like Lake Tahoe, where it's like a beautiful lake with mountains. That's my spot. Like, and if I could stay there and never leave, and I could love people well, and my family could be there, that'd be it. But if it was like favorite place, like one room I could never leave, I don't even know how to answer that question. So, oh man, homemade pizza. It's hard to go wrong with that. I love making homemade pizza. Yep, no, I like fish. I think I talked about that a little bit earlier. I do. What would happen if you figured out that rolling isn't a real word? I'd probably still keep using it because there's plenty of things that I use that aren't real words anyway, so I wouldn't be too distracted or distraught by it. Give up sleeping or eating if I could live without one. Sleeping, because I hope I could get more done. That'd be sweet. Good question, Asher. Do I have a favorite or lucky number? My favorite number is 9. It's my soccer number growing up, and yeah, number 9. Seth, thanks, man. I hope to meet you and spend some time with you someday here soon. But thanks for your encouragement. I'm glad to be here. Least favorite number? I don't really have one. Oh, man. You guys are cracking me up. That's funny. That's funny. All right. I think we're all caught up. Any other questions you want to toss my way? Eden, they're both great words. One celebrity in this whole world, who would it be? Let's say meet and like have like a legitimate conversation, like really get to talk with them. One celebrity. Who would it be? It depends on how celebrity we're talking. Like if we're talking like movie star, man, I don't like think about that much. Man, I mean, probably a guy like Trip Lee. Pretty famous musician, loves Jesus, pastoring a church. I just love to spend some time with him. He's ministered to me through his music for many, many years, and has just a story of being faithful through some really hard things. So he'd be a guy that I'd love to meet. I understand you guys might not know who that is, so that makes maybe him a little less of a kind of a celebrity, but that's who it would be. Aaron, one breakfast food. I'm not sure if that's a question. I'm gonna assume you're asking me what a favorite breakfast food is. Eggs. I can cook them scrambled, fried, a lot of different ways with potatoes and some sort of meat, sausage, bacon, and some toast. Like I love it. So I don't care if it's an omelet. I don't care. That's just my thing. The potatoes are the key. I want good breakfast potatoes with my eggs. So those are the key. That's funny. Sweet. Holy cow, is it already 9:20? We've been doing this for 50 minutes. That's crazy. Goodness gracious. Time goes fast when you guys are asking good questions. Oh yeah, soft boiled. Yeah, I'll eat soft boiled, hard boiled. I'll eat eggs just about anyway. I haven't really ever had them like poached, so I don't know. Asher, do I like running distance? Not really, but something's happening. Like I'm starting to enjoy running some distance stuff. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's the quarantine brain or something, but I never really liked running distance growing up. I ran cross country in high school, and I didn't really like it then. I did it for the team and because Tabitha ran cross country. So I don't love it, but I'm enjoying it more right now than I probably ever have. And so it's been fun trying to get in better shape that way. Yeah, Hannah, worst pet peeve? I don't know. I don't really know. Um, I think I've said this before. The thing that gets me the most is when people, and this might seem like a weird pet peeve, but when people are mean and unkind to other people. And I know I do that myself, but when I see people on purpose thinking about how to be unkind to people, whether it's my own kids or students or adults, like that just, man, that I struggle with that. It hurts me. I get angry. People are actively trying to tear other people down. Man, like that's like top pet peeve for me. How do I cook my breakfast potatoes? Well, I like them a lot of different ways. So I like, hash browns. I like, more of your kind of like chopped potatoes that are cooked. I want them to be a little bit of crispy on the outside. Don't want to be too hard, but don't want them just mushy and soft. So, but I love them if they're like sauteed with peppers and onions. So good, so good. Um, let's see here. Haha, good question, Noel. No, I've got some lighting. I've got a light over there and a lamp over there. I used to have two kind of video lights that I bought. One of them's not working, so we're trying to see if I can get the bulb replaced. But I do have some lighting. When the quarantine stuff kind of started going down, and I realized I was going to be doing some more video stuff, I purchased a little bit of lighting just to make sure what we could do could really work. So good question. Way to notice. Let's see here. Zombie apocalypse. One thing you bring. A gun. I don't own it, but I want a gun. I want something like that. No, I don't read much horror books. Sorry. Seth, that's funny. Patriots fan. What's the worst mistake you made in school? Worst mistake I made in school. I'll be like honest with you. Not trying hard enough for a long period of time. Like I just kind of did whatever I could do to get by for a large period of my schooling. And I could have learned a lot more. I could have enjoyed it a lot more if I'd have worked a little bit harder, but my priorities were in other places. And so that would be my biggest mistake. I just didn't work hard enough, particularly in high school. I could have worked harder and benefited much more. Let's see here. Just coming down. Favorite room in the house to get work done? Man, it's hard to get work done in this house. We had some water in our basement this weekend or this last few days, unfortunately. So I had to vacate my basement office. So I'm now upstairs in my master bedroom, which was nice. I'm not nearly as cold up there, but my internet's not quite as good up there. It's on the other side of the house from the modem. But it was nice. I got a lot of stuff done today, and I'll be up there tomorrow until we can figure out the water in the basement. So, bring a thing that can make a force field, Aaron. You do that. That's great. Xbox and a gun. Gun to keep the zombies away. Xbox to keep you busy. That's a good idea, Seth. But then don't you need a TV? If you don't have a TV, Xbox is no good. Favorite pickup line. I heard you guys did that the other day. I don't really have any. I was totally not. That was not my thing. Yeah, I don't even have any good ones. They're all really bad. So bad. Are there really any good ones? Like, there's not really any good pickup lines. Let's see here. Did I have to take the ACT or SAT? I could have taken either to get into the school I went to, but I took the SAT. Let's see here. Noel, oh my gosh. That's funny. That's so funny. So yeah, my pickup line to Tabitha was never a pickup line. So I asked her to the banquet. So it was a Christmas banquet. Think about it kind of like a prom or like a junior senior dance or something like that. So I went above and beyond and asked her by writing a song and asked her to go to the banquet with me. So my pickup line was not like a one-liner smooth. It was a song that I wrote on the guitar to ask her to go to the banquet with me. So maybe that counts. I found the lyrics to it the other day, but it was really funny to find. What's the most stressful thing in your life right now? What is the most stressful thing in your life when you were in high school? Most stressful thing in my life right now, parenting is just really hard. It really is. It brings out my own sin. It's dealing with other people's sin. Parenting is just really challenging. So that's probably the most stressful thing right now for me. In high school, yeah, the most stressful thing is always relationships, I think. I mean, we've talked about this. Tabitha and I wish we'd gone back and not dated through high school. It brought a lot of drama, unnecessary drama into our life when we could have been focusing on some other friendships, and even friendship with each other would have been great. But that just brought a lot of stress into my life and our life. So that's good. Let's see here. Is the guitar my favorite instrument? The guitar is really the only thing I play. I love piano. I love saxophone. I love music in general. So it's the only one that I play. But I love the piano. I wish I'd have learned piano actually. I'm not singing the song, Elizabeth. No way. No way. I would be so embarrassed. Oh my goodness. That's funny. That's funny. All right, 3 more minutes and I got to hop off. So we went over the calendar. Just want to make sure you guys are up to date with that. If there's anything you guys need, I say this all the time. I really mean it. If there are things going on in your life that you'd like me to pray for, please send them my way. Yeah, I would just really, really appreciate that. Eden, what advice would you give people who are dealing with relationship drama right now? Man, that's a broad question. Without kind of knowing more about the situation, I just hesitate to speak because every situation is different. Particularly in high school, I really just always want to encourage students to be focusing on a couple of things first. Number one, focusing on their relationship and their faith, their relationship with Jesus and their faith in Jesus. Growing in that relationship is the most important relationship that you can grow in. It'll make you more mature as a person. It'll help you think about the right things. It'll give you kind of a foundation to stand on when maybe things don't work out. So focus on that first. Second, focus on building strong friendships with people of the same gender. I think that's where your deepest friendships are going to be formed before marriage, and focus on those. Third, I think it's important to start learning what it looks like to resolve conflict, and so I like some of the, I don't know if you're familiar with Ken Sande's peacemaker stuff, but some things that are really, really helpful. Thinking about focusing on the problem, so attacking the problem, not the person, staying current. There's a lot of kind of relationship skills and peacemaking skills in that little book that's really, really helpful. But yeah, it's hard to give advice for a general question like that because I always want to learn more before I give advice, because it's easy to give the wrong advice when you haven't gathered the information well. So, oh my gosh, I haven't looked at these. You guys are nuts. Do you have any opinions on architecture? Favorite style? I like mid-century modern. I like that as well. Anything that Chip and Joanna design, I'm usually in love with. I love the white, open, yeah, the light colors, open concept. Yeah, anything they design, yes, please. All right, it's 9:30. I gotta hop off here. I'm not singing it live, but there will be a day where you guys can hang out at my house and I can bust out my guitar someday, and we can totally relive some of that. I also proposed to Tabitha with a song that I wrote for her. So that was kind of the bookends of our kind of dating relationship. I asked her to go to banquet through a song, and then I proposed in a song that I wrote to her as well. So, yep. Okay, let's see here. Sweet. Okay. Well, I love you guys. Once again, I can't wait till we can be in person again and have these kinds of dialogues without a chat screen, and just talk and hang out and mess around. I just miss you guys, and I miss encouraging you, like speaking encouragement into you. So have a great night. Get some rest. Love you guys, and I'll see you again soon.